Most videos about GLP-1 medications focus on things you can do as an individual to optimize your outcomes, to maximize your weight loss, to feel better on the medication, and that's all great. But we also need to factor in that the climate around these medications is extremely poor. Some of the advice and approaches coming out from healthcare staff are actually damaging or problematic. And so in today's video, I want to break some of that stuff down, point out a few things that you might not be aware of that ultimately could be obstructive to you getting your best possible outcome on these medications. Firstly, in today's video, I want to talk about our relentless focus on side effects. There is nothing wrong with discussing the side effects of GLP-1 medications. It's important. With medicine, always safety first. And absolutely, some people on GLP-1s will have bad side effects. The thing is, we do not usually prescribe a medication and go through every single little side effect in the book. You get any medication over the counter or prescribed and you'll see there's a big sheet inside of all the different things that can happen. With GLP-1s, we go through every single one of those. We don't usually do that with other stuff, even drugs that are far riskier. And there's two big reasons that I think this happens. The first big one being that many people out there do not believe that people who struggle with their weight should ever, under any circumstances, be taking a medication to help reduce that. They should always be able to reduce their weight through diet and exercise. Yes, this completely ignores all the physiology that we know with obesity, but some people will think whatever they want. And so if you're one of these people, you are always going to view any side effects from this medication as completely unacceptable because the medication shouldn't be there in the first place. The second point that I find very interesting, which comes from speaking to many of my NHS GP colleagues, is that so many of them tell me when they are prescribing a GLP-1, all they actually know how to talk about are the side effects, because they don't have the experience of talking to people about their weight, they don't have the underlying understanding of the physiology of obesity, they don't understand eating disorders, what drives people to eat, how to use the medications to optimize the outcome. So all they can do is talk about the side effects. And essentially in a 10-minute slot as an NHS GP, they don't have much time to do anything else anyway. So the most important thing is that they act safely. Now this is really important. It's nothing to do with NHS GPs not trying to do a good job. So many NHS GPs are trying to do the absolute best in very difficult circumstances. But without the knowledge of how to optimize the medication and help patients to use it most appropriately, they're not able to give that sort of feedback, so they focus on what they can do. The difficulty with this then comes to titrating the dose, because still when you speak to a lot of doctors about how patients are using these medications, they think it's all about appetite suppression. They might not acknowledge the other benefits that many patients are talking about. If you view your patient as weak-willed and just needing something to make it easier, you're going to titrate that dose very differently to somebody who has a better understanding of obesity, and so maybe you're going to be more likely to titrate up their dose a lot faster. So it is a very interesting area, but GPs are crying out for more education and training in this area, and good quality education is very hard to find, which is my next point. And this is the training of medics in GLP-1 medications. Obesity is complex. Understanding obesity is important, and actually getting training in obesity is not easy. There is on the World Obesity Federation's website a training course that you can do that is e-learning. It's tick boxing. If you are a healthcare worker or in the fitness industry, you can access this online and you can go and you can do the course, and I would recommend it to absolutely everyone. It is a baseline. It is a little out of date. It talks about tirzepatide coming soon, but if you want to know something about obesity, this is a good little starter pack. I did the full course, I've completed the exam at the end, but I don't really value this because it's kind of like saying, I'm a doctor, here's my GCSE in biology. It's very, very basic, but unfortunately what we are now seeing on social media is a lot of doctors come out and say, I am a scope certified expert in obesity on the basis of doing this course. And that really worries me, because when you speak to a lot of these individuals who have this qualification, they don't have any real world experience of actually treating people with obesity. They haven't actually sat with somebody with obesity and talked to them about what's going on. So they don't have any practical skills. And in no other area of medicine would a doctor dream of calling themselves an expert in something when they haven't practically put it into place. The problem with obesity is because of the entrenched weight stigma that many people have, they believe that if they don't struggle with their weight, then they can lecture everybody else on how to manage their weight in the first place. The whole point of the scope course is that it points out the physiology of obesity, it talks about weight stigma, but on an e-learning module where nobody sat there talking to you, challenging your beliefs, where Frankly, if you want to do the exam and put all the questions into Google, I'm sure you absolutely could. It is not a marker of somebody who is an expert by any means in this field. I would say to anybody who is looking to work with a healthcare worker on their obesity or work with GLP-1s, one, check that they have a registered healthcare number, whether it's a GMC number for a doctor, an NMC number, etc. I'll pop some examples on screen. Make sure you're working with somebody who's qualified, and then you want to know what their experience of working with patients on these medications is actually like, not what qualification they've got. There's no decent qualification really here in the UK at the moment. In the US, you can be board certified. Here in the UK, I guess the closest specialty would be an endocrinologist. There are definitely endocrinology consultants whose area is obesity. They're amazing. I've also met a lot of GPs whose area is obesity. They've worked in weight management clinics for years. They're amazing. These are great people. These are the people you want to work with. People with the background qualification, but then the practical experience. Because I would much rather work with somebody who doesn't have this tick box qualification. I even started doing it years ago and stopped because I thought it was so out of date. And when I saw doctors coming out on social media saying I'm a scope expert, I thought, oh, maybe they've updated the course, maybe there's more to it. And then I went back to it and thought, wow, I can't believe anyone would promote themselves on the basis of this course. And it is quite a big conversation, I think, among some people in this field, that this course is good, it's a good baseline, but it is not there to make you an expert. And one thing that would really help to make some of these doctors care a little bit more about the issue would be if here in the UK we recognised obesity to be a disease. Unfortunately, it's not recognised as a disease, even though the Royal College of Physicians has been campaigning for this to be the case for many years. There is a recognised disease process, there are so many factors that go into it, but until we recognise it as a disease, we will still see it get substandard care. You would never expect to go to your GP and their GP to say, oh, you have high blood pressure. Go home, read the guidelines, go to an online pharmacy, get the medication. That would be hideous. And yet that's what we do with obesity. And actually with obesity, it's much more complex to work out the causes, what's going on, and how to support somebody than with something like blood pressure. For something like blood pressure, when you initially get diagnosed, you tend to have tests and investigations to look at your background health or factors we might need to consider. That should also be the case for obesity. And many people are completely missing this step because they don't know to do that. They don't know that you can go and have certain things checked. This is one of the reasons that I am very pro the NHS doing more in this area. Now, some will say that it's unfair that we have this two-tier system when it comes to obesity, where some people can afford treatment and other people can't. Though unfortunately here in the UK we do already have a very two-tier healthcare system when it comes to general medicine. It's just that some people who can afford it are much more aware of that than others who feel more trapped within the NHS, who aren't aware of what they could access if they could go privately. So it is sad. It is a sad indictment of where we're at in the UK right now. I'm going to do an update video as to where I've been over the last few weeks, because alongside my clinic I have been working in the NHS, and it's been hard, to be honest. I'm doing much less of that now. Also the clinic is just very busy, but it's difficult times for the NHS. But the final point that I want to mention today is that through my NHS work I have encountered a number of people taking GLP-1s that they have bought from their hairdresser, from their nail technician, from people again who've done a course. And I do sometimes wonder if they've somehow accessed the SCOPE course, because it is widely accessible online. It is open to abuse, unfortunately. And so they meet these people, say they've done a course, and then they're getting medications through them that they're keeping in the back of their shop. Now, no legitimate medications are available through beauticians. These medications should be coming from a licensed pharmacy, and you may get them through a medic prescribing, but they should always come from a licensed pharmacy. If you are not getting it from a licensed pharmacy, if you are paying less than £100 for your mounjaro, you are not getting mounjaro. More often than not, these bogus pens contain things like insulin, which can be lethal if you take it and then you drop your blood sugar. I've spoken to a number of patients who've got their most recent pen off somebody on Facebook and said, oh no, they were just selling a little excess that they had. It makes absolutely no sense. Unfortunately, while we have this current climate around GLP-1s, where they are very widely accessible, where the systems are very open to abuse, where so much of what seems to happen is more driven by finances than actual safety, people will be able to exploit that. The lines between the black market and the real market will be increasingly difficult for some patients to navigate. Now, you might think I'm too smart to ever fall for anything like that, but these people getting the medications on the black market are putting themselves at risk, and they're also feeding back about the medications, talking about side effects and the reputation of these medications, often in a very negative way because they're not doing anything or they're just bringing them to harm. And that feeds into the overall perception of these medications, which is important important at the moment. This is a very important time when it comes to obesity care and GLP-1 support, because we are shaping what care will look like going forward. And unfortunately, so many people in this area who do not have an understanding of what we're talking about are putting GLP-1s into the context that we've always had, which is that everyone who's obese is lazy and greedy. And so they're not seeing the wide range of benefits that we can get. Also, so many of the people who are working aggressively in this field right now are in the private sector. And a lot of them are within places like the large pharmacies, where it's all about churning through the maximum number of patients rather than trying to get the best individual outcomes for patients. Yes, paying lip service, putting out all the adverts, reaching out to content creators like me asking me to promote different pharmacies. I'm not happy to do that, as I've told. I think I've probably had every big pharmacy bar one. There's only one I can think of that hasn't reached out to me here in the UK to ask me to make content for them. But I fundamentally disagree with the premise that people with obesity have to do it themselves, whereas people with other health conditions, they get better support. And so I won't work with the online pharmacies. Unless somebody is truly trying to bring out individualised care, I'm not going to support something that I do not believe in. My bank balance cannot believe that because the money in this field is ridiculous. The money to be made on GLP-1s is incredible. And unfortunately, it seems to be market forces that are going to shape what obesity care looks like in the future, rather than truly providing the best possible care to individuals. Now, when it comes to prescribing GLP-1s, I personally believe that we are blanket bombing everyone who's fat with them, rather than saying, right, why are you overweight? What else can we be doing? Do we necessarily need to jump to these first of all, or is there something else we can provide? Providing actual good care for obesity, not just GLP-1s, is where we need to be headed. The Mayo Clinic in the US, I've talked about them before, they're looking at the 4 phenotypes model of different causes of obesity. This is the sort of thing that I personally would like to get into, actually trying to identify why people struggle, minimizing their exposure to risk, maximizing their potential benefit, and not wasting their time. But it does seem to be a sad reality that so much of where obesity is headed is clinicians with scope qualifications ticking boxes to say they're doing all the right things, whilst not actually providing that quality, not providing that meaningful support. And particularly in such a grey area like obesity right now, we need people who really are motivated and care about the issue as much as they do their bank balance.